All right. We are we started Ois Gimel on page Ayin. We went a little bit further down, but we'll start from where we need to start today. That is 5 lines from the top. Velehatfis ageshem beruchni. We've been discussing the phenomenon of koiches coming be slappus in the Ivorim. And the point that we've discussed and that we have focused on until now is the principle that the koiches have a hagbol, they have an affinity with the Ivorim. There's a similarity. Even though this is Ruchni, this is Gashmi, and that puts them in totally different category. Within their categories, there's a certain similarity. And this is why there is a possibility of the Ivorim having, providing, so to speak, a housing for the koiches. All right, so we'll continue on. It is line number 5 in Eis Gimel. After the parenthesis, although the nefesh itself is built in mugbal, as we discussed yesterday, built in mugbal means it has no definitive presence. Cannot identify what nefesh is. Mikomokoim. Yet still, the koiches are within the category, within the realm of gvul, meaning to say they do have a boundary, and therefore they have a definition. Shaharei, since that, hein koiches protiim, they are individual and specific koiches. As in illustration of koyach ha-chochma. These are 2 individual separate koyches. Chochma is one koyach ha-chesed, another koyach. And they have different functions, and they establish in different parts, in different evorim. The principle, we'll take it slowly, okay, bit by bit. Just to point out the Indian from Gvulim, Koiches Protim. We discussed already that the hand has a koyach hatnua, and then you're able to write with the hand. The writing is utilizing the koyach hatnua, but that's not based in koyach hatnua. It's based in koyach haseichel. And therefore, writing is a combination of 2 koiches. The phenomena of these 2 koiches can so perfectly combine to produce one result that is due to the beetle and so forth. But in other words, you cannot take it and say so it's a blanket sweep. The koyach hatnua, so he's riding, he's throwing a ball, he's kicking a ball and kicking a rock. It's all the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's not the same koyach. Although that koyach is also involved in it. Similarly, we say koyach ha-chochma ke'ach ha-chesed. We, in our experience, do not distinguish what koyach is functioning at this particular moment. And it's correct so that it shouldn't be distinguished, and we'll still talk about this aspect also. But nonetheless, these are two very distinct koyachs, as demonstrated in the fact that if a person wants to understand something, he clearly engages his head. When it comes to chesed, his heart is excited. Clearly, there are two different locations in the group and two different koiches. Now, he's making an emphasis that almost seems to be coming from a left field. Now, it's totally unexpected. V'hein, and they, the koiches, nimtsoyim klulim benefesh. They are present, klulim, included in the nefesh. What does including mean, included? Included means it's like you put water in a cup, or a pebble in a cup. We already discussed the difference. They're included in the nefesh. Loi shehein ha-arah v'ispashus meha nefesh atzmoi. Mean to say that it is not correct to view the koiches as being a ha-arah, a reflection, and the hispashus and the coming forth of the nefesh itself. Ha-arah we already discussed when we first learned this now, a couple of days ago. Ha-arah means a reflection, what's meant a reflection. The effect of something. Like we say, there is sunlight, there is daylight. A ha-arah of daylight is the fact that you can see your way across the street. This is not what daylight stands for. Nobody's going to say, oh, you know what daylight is that you can see across the street. Daylight is a completely different phenomenon. A much deeper union than you're able to see across the street. But a ha-arah of that, now it's a functional element of that, is that you can see across the street. That is the, so to speak, the less effect of it. But this is not what it is in essence. The koiches, one may think that the koiches are simply a ha-arah of the nefesh. The nefesh it has capacity indefinite. And as we say all the time, wherever the rotz in the person is, this is where he is. How odd of that is that he can walk across there. He can bring, that will be how odd of it. She says, no, that's not the way the koiches are. Koiches is not a ha-arah of the nefesh. Yes, indeed, there is an element of nefesh coming along with every action of the person. But the koiches themselves, the functioning koiches, the active koiches, are koiches that are embedded in the nefesh. They are not part and parcel of the nefesh. And we will discuss it and see the significance of this in a moment. As I said, it seems to be coming completely unexpectedly. So we say this, that the koiches are nimtsoyim benefesh, they are present in the nefesh, they are included in the nefesh. Not that they are ha-arah v'ispashus meha nefesh. They are not part and parcel of the nefesh. The whole ha-arah. Why aren't we? What's the difference? What's the point? What is the point to say that they're not the ha-arah nefesh? How does that distinguish them from what they are? Because a ha-arah harehu lifi eifon ha'etzem. A ha-arah is, even though it's only ha-arah, but the ha-arah is lifi eifon ha'etzem. It's representative. It's a representative of the etzem, according to the way of the etzem is. But But the koiches einam ha-arah mi'atzem ha-nefesh. They're not the ha-arah mi'atzem ha-nefesh. We will use the illustration that we already use now, light, daylight. We distinguish light produced by a candlelight or a flashlight and daylight. Light that is produced for the function to reveal an object is defined by this function. Shine the flashlight over here so I could see this. Daylight also enables you to see the object, but it cannot be captured in that definition. Daylight does not shine upon the object to make it visible. Daylight removes darkness, and you're able to see the object automatically, unintentionally almost. As we always say, in daylight it is not that you're able to see, it is impossible not to see. Because daylight eliminated darkness. It transformed the whole situation. It's not darkness, it's light. This is why the Rebbe created light, as we repeat it all the time. He created light, he didn't create the sun to illuminate the darkness. The creation of light made a fundamental change in the world. The world, as it was created, in essence and by nature, it would be dark. From a worldly perspective, the world would be dark. And God added a godly perspective to the world, and that's called light. Thus, when you see an object in daylight, is it the same experience as seeing an object by candlelight or by flashlight? It's not at all. I also see the object, but it's a different experience of sight. Even based on seeing the object itself, it's a different experience. When you see an object in sunlight, in daylight, you see the object from a different angle, the angle that it is visible. There's no concealment on the object. If we should put this down and try to, so they can in very definitive words, in daylight you do not see an object. You see the entire environment and everything that's contained therein. You can focus in on any object, but you don't see the object because the object is illuminated. You see because you see the entire environment, there's no darkness. When you have a focused line, it's correct to say, I see the object. When you see the object as an object, it's a completely different experience from the object perspective than the object within its environment. You're getting the point here. The object within its environment is a different object. It's part of the reality. Therefore, this is correct. I'm going to say this was ha-arah, even though seeing the object is ha-arah of daylight. But the ha-arah is, what's the version over here? It's reflective of the etzem. The etzem has light in bitar definition, in unlimited, and therefore the ha-arah also has an unlimited effect.
Saying daylight here would be the nimshach for ha-arah, and the mashal for
daylight is the etzem light. Daylight. Then that daylight allows you to see this object. How the daylight in this is the ha-arah of them. And this is the ha-arah, this is the effect of the ha-arah, the functional element. The ha-arah of seeing the object that daylight provides you with is a different kind of sight than if you have a flashlight shining on it.
The flashlight would not be a ha-arah.
The flashlight is a different. It's a focus light. It's not a ha-arah of an etzem. This ha-arah is a ha-arah is of because there is etzem light. Somebody will say is etzem behiri. And we say all the time, what's etzem behiri? Etzem behiri means this is. I'm saying these words. It's very difficult for us to conceptualize, but that's the reality. To the sun, from the sun's perspective, light is as fundamental as darkness to us. Darkness to us does not have to be brought in. It's automatic. Light in the sun is automatic. It's the fundamental reality. That's very difficult for us to conceptualize. It's a physical light, but that's the truth. And let's take a different muscle and we'll be able to correlate it. Life in the nefesh. The life force within the human being. The way life comes in to us as we experience, as we observe it, life is a ha-arah of the nefesh. But the nefesh, to the nefesh, life is a fundamental reality. There is no two states in the nefesh, life and lifelessness. There's no such thing. And therefore, the ha-arah of the nefesh, that the nefesh provides for us life, this is the ha-arah, has the same quality. We don't sense, as we lately been discussing, the lifelessness and then the life. There's no such thing. We sense only life, even though it's only ha-arah. So ha-arah is lefi eifon ha'etz. Aval ha-koichos. This is the point that we're aiming at. But the koichos, einam ha-arah me'etzem ha-nefesh. They're not a ha-arah from etzem ha-nefesh. They are in fact limited functions, focus functions. Kiyim, rather, what is the proper way of defining koichos? Mashe ha-nefesh, the fact that the nefesh, im heyoisei bilti mugbo be'etzem, despite the fact that it is, in essence, bilti mugbo, not defined, does not have borders, harei hu koile be'atzmei, yet it includes be'atzmai in himself, included in this etzem, are koichos shehein bebchinas koichos mugbolim be'etzem. Koichos that are in the category of mugbolim be'etzem, they're in essence definitive koichos. In other words, not that the koichos are in essence bli gvul, and then when they come to a functional level, they are limited. They're in essence built in mugbolim. They are defined by their function to begin with. In their inception, they are defined by their function. Mugbolim bi'atzim.
How does it say koichos twice?
What?
How does it say koichos? Shehein b'chinas koichos.
Read the whole sentence, will you?
Yeah. And you also build the mugbal ba'atzmei and koila ba'atzmei koichos. Shehein b'chinas koichos mugbalim ba'atzmei. I would think it would say shehein b'chinas mugbalim ba'atzmei. Maybe.
All right. So the principle that the koiches are included in the etzem is mugbolim be'etzem, that they are in essence mugbol, as they are included in the nefesh. They are already mugbal, not that they become mugbal when they come into function.
Interesting. I mean, it seems to be so opposite to what we talk about a koyach is a human koyach. It's, when a person sees, he sees an environment, he sees something that's real, he's reflective of a human soul. Here it seems to be saying completely different.
Right. And what's the point?
And what's the point?
Yeah.
And what is the point?
Hot potatoes.
What do you mean? What's the point? Like, what's the point of having such a?
What's the point of making this emphasis?
That they're mukbal and be'etzem?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're completely under control of the nefesh. They're not going to act independently. Right? A person will not walk opposite the direction of where he wants to walk.
Maybe the point is that it's migbolim. It's not the ocean or ocean.
Yeah. So what's the difference? What's the point? What the point means? What is taking pains to make this point over here? What is intended by this? How does that change our perspective of the conscience? All right. As we said many times, and here is a major challenge. Understand, this is not even the aleph of what we are talking about.
But I mean, before we even get to the point, which is the truth is that I wasn't even there yet. I'm dealing with the seeming stira in my mind about the way you've explained koichos all this time, and what it says here. Now, I'm going to put that aside because I don't, it wasn't fully developed yet.
All right. So to keep you, so to speak, a little bit calm, that's what the word, ameliorating your disturbance. There are two aspects in the human being. There is what he is unto himself, and what he is as on the mission from God. And both of these are accomplished via his nefesh. We can take, we have to stop the very simple historical, most of the significant historical occurrence. When we came to Matan Torah, what did we say? Nasa v'nishma. How can it be? What happened to your nefesh? And how are you going to do it? Are you involved in what you're doing? You're not involved in what you're doing. So we spoke about this, and Mitzvah Shem now we'll speak a lot about this. There's an aspect in you that is greater than yourself. And this is what enabled us to say Nasa v'Nishma. This is why Nasa v'Nishma represent a crown, not intelligence. Represent a crown. Something that hovers above the head. This is it for this morning.
Rabbi, when it says we're speaking about koiches in this context, we're speaking about koiches as all the koiches or the more refined koiches like seichel?
Koiches are nefesh, only koiches are nefesh.
Down to tznup koyach tnuah.
What?
Down to koyach tnuah?
Yeah.
Shut